The difference between Band 6 and Band 7 in IELTS writing. Sometimes it comes down to fine margins or the little errors you may be making that would mean a 6 to the examiner instead of that wonderful Band 7. For today's video, I asked a former IELTS examiner to grade 5 essays written by real students, and I'll show you the difference between these scores. It's Asia. Let's get started. As I said, I have 5 essays for you, which all answer the same question. Some people believe that the internet is increasing the gap between the rich and poor, while others argue that it helps to reduce this gap. Discuss both these views and give your own opinion. Let's start with the first criterion examiners use to assess your answers: task response. It really means 3 things. Have you covered all the parts of the question? Have you made your position clear? Are your main ideas developed and supported by examples? Let's look at those aspects in more detail in Essay B. The opening paragraph clearly states the writer's point of view. In my opinion, it has increased the gap between the two. That's good. The next paragraph presents arguments that support the idea that the internet has reduced the gap. And the paragraph ends with, I, on the other hand, have a different opinion. What is this opinion? We're hoping to learn more in the next body paragraph, right? Here is the paragraph about the view that the student supports. The examiner will read this and think, Band 6. Why? Well, the writer's taken a position, yes, but are the arguments presented clear? Are they adequately developed using examples and evidence? The answer must be to some extent. The lifestyle and luxury goods might illustrate class differences, but they have not created them. Perhaps it would have been better to develop both sides of the education employment aspect to produce a better developed essay. This one seems jumpy, moving from point to point without convincing connections. Compare it to Essay D. Again, there is a clear opinion in the introduction. In my opinion, it should be, the internet has decreased the gap between the two. Now, let's read the third paragraph where the writer presents arguments that support their opinion. When people use the internet to educate themselves, the gap is reduced. The internet offers many options for self-education, and many of these do not require payment. Poor people, therefore, have the possibility to become more skilled. Similarly, they could use some of these websites to take courses about personal finances and learn techniques to save money. In addition, those internet sites also include some where people can learn how to invest. Some investments do not demand a significant amount of money. Then any person has the option to invest and search for other sources to obtain an extra income. By using the internet as a resource for self-education, the gap between the rich and the poor decreases. This paragraph is much more focused than the one from Essay B. Connections are made between using the internet as an educational tool without cost and possibly using it to learn about handling personal finances, to save money and to make money. In task response, this would score a good Band 7. The next criterion examiners use is called coherence and cohesion. When we talk about coherence in an essay, we mean how it all makes sense, how it's ordered in a logical way in paragraphs and sentences. Cohesion is how the details and sentences are linked. The examiner here will be looking at how cohesive devices like although or moreover and referencing using pronouns and vocabulary help make the essay solid and clear. Let's start with an example from Essay A. I've marked some examples of cohesion or linking words in bold. Go ahead, pause the video and read it. Now, I haven't marked any of the references because they are all right. For example, the use of some of them to refer back to people with lower education. But as a paragraph, it's not particularly coherent. It begins by saying that companies can make money from the internet. True. Then it continues with another downside. But is the fact that businesses make profits a downside? Is it bad? And what's the connection between that and not being able to use the internet because you can't read? Using however to begin the next sentence is not convincing either because there is no connection, no contrast really with the previous sentence. It seems to be arguing the opposite case, how the internet can narrow the gap. Likewise, the following sentence, which starts with in fact, gives examples of how the internet can narrow the gap, which is not the opinion of the author. In other words, the paragraph is not that logical and wouldn't get more than band 6 for coherence and cohesion. Compare it with this paragraph from Essay E. Let's read it. One of the main reasons why some people think that the internet divides the rich and poor is an inadequate access to this technology. This issue, unfortunately, may limit educational opportunities for the poor. It has been proven that people with low income are more likely to have a limited connection to digital resources and less reliable internet service than affluent citizens. For example, students in low-income school districts may face major challenges in using educational technology effectively due to poor connectivity to the high-speed internet or lack of appropriate devices compared to high-income students. Thus, these barriers may hinder development of tech skills among the youth with low income, which are essential to succeed in today's job market. This paragraph is an excellent example of how to use cohesive devices to link ideas between sentences or within them. There is a very clear central topic which runs through the entire paragraph, namely social class and access to technology and educational opportunities. Referencing this technology and this issue, and the impressive use of synonyms and paraphrasing to avoid lexical repetition, pushes this paragraph to at least a possible band 8. Right now, I'm quickly naming different requirements, but to learn more about each of them in IELTS writing and speaking and how to answer different types of tasks sentence by sentence, you can check out my IELTS preparation packs. I'll link them in the description. Our next criterion is lexical resource or your vocabulary. The examiner is looking at 3 main aspects of your vocabulary use. First, how wide it is. Secondly, how good you are at using the right word or phrase at the right time. In other words, your sensitivity to style and context. Both range and appropriateness include your use of less common lexical items and, very importantly, collocations, those frequent word combinations that are so important in all languages. Finally, the examiner will have an eye on word formation and spelling. As always, the less noticeable any errors are, the higher the band score. Who gets band 6? According to the descriptors, the range of vocabulary will be adequate, and some inaccuracies in word choice, spelling, or formation won't make comprehension impossible, but might put some strain on the reader. Look at these examples from Essay C. We can understand what the writer wants to say, but we're not happy about the choice of words. The show of virtual money. Is the word arrival what the writer was looking for? Currencies, not monies, and currencies lose their value, they don't fall down. We pass or enact laws. with an A, not with an O, and we don't band gaps, we bridge them. Oh, and to decrease differences looks strange, it's better to say to lessen financial differences. Vocabulary acquisition and use is hard work, and we all go through this band 6 stage when we know what we want to say, but we're not exactly sure of how to really say that in this language. Compare this to this extract from essay E, which shows good use of effective collocation and less common lexical items such as hinder. I've marked some examples of good phrases in bold. There are 1 or 2 inaccuracies, so no need for an article A before poor connectivity and high-speed internet, but it's evidence of a strong band 7. In this video, I'm showing you mainly the differences between band 6 and 7 writing, which is more applicable to most of you. But if you'd like to see a band 9 model answer, I have one which you can download as PDF. It's also a 2 views and your opinion essay, and it's linked in the description. And let's move on to the next criterion, your grammar. To get a high band score in grammatical range and accuracy, a 7 or an 8, your essay should have a good mix of complex structures along with some simple sentences where appropriate and be relatively error-free. Of course, the more errors you make, the more chance that the score will go down to a 6, as long as those errors don't have a negative effect on understanding. Too many errors mean you're looking at band 5. The examiner is on the lookout for some grammatical sophistication through perhaps the use of conditionals, passives, and the complexities of sentences with 2 or even 3 clauses. Take this paragraph from essay E. This shows a good range of complex sentences. 5 sentences, all complex. There are very slight inaccuracies, but no obvious errors. And we get the message. However, to increase the score further, we could make changes. The second sentence, the conditional one, would look better if we made it more hypothetical. If individuals with low income used the internet, they would be able to access information that could guide. That's why it's a good 7, but not an 8. Turning to essay A, however, we see more noticeable errors. Look at this extract. Do you see what's wrong? It's just one sentence, a long and winding sentence with too many clauses. Rewrite it. Complex sentences, yes, but it's better to keep them to 2 clauses. The writer had to end the sentence with using the internet effectively and then start a new one, like this. I'd also like to look at essay D. This essay is a very interesting mix of simple and complex sentences with hardly any errors. It also has more sentences, 27 in total. Other essays have between 10 and 16, more of them complex than simple. On the first reading, essay D looks the most impressive in grammatical terms. But the second reading made me wonder if it could have been better in places. At the moment, it's band 7 at most. How can we improve it? By simply joining up some simple sentences to make them more complex. So here is my altered version from sentence 3. Furthermore, there are sites where you can apply for jobs which do not take into consideration the economic status of the applicants, thus giving the poor and the rich access to the same opportunities. So far, we've looked at examples of band 6 and 7 writing for each criterion. The next step to closing that gap, or should I say bridging that gap and crossing over from band 6 to 7 and 8, is learning how to write a great essay sentence by sentence. And in this in-depth lesson, you can learn how to write a perfect introduction. It's a free preview from one of my courses, so please check it out. And thank you so much for watching me today. Good luck with your preparation and your exam.